Today's video is all about our first trip.
A lot of memories there.
Yo. So, first of all, Ronald didn't have his license the first time we had to leave from his parents' house.
But we were also betting to get a booking, so I managed to get my learners, but the drivers wasn't done.
Yeah. So he had his learners, and luckily we have a friend that has a bus license, and he helped us to get to our first destination because Gareth was in the car in the bus with Ronald, and he had to have some way to come back. So Penny and Carmen came all the way to Ventersdorp with us, but at that time we also hadn't sold Ronald's bakkie, so I had the car with the trailer. I think I had the trailer, and my dad also had to drive the bakkie all the way to Ventersdorp for us. And then along with that was also cameraman Daniel, who was trying to do a docu-series for us. So it was like a convoy. Never mind that for the first 45 minutes, I'd say, my sister Lindy was driving behind us hooting, and Adele also just driving behind us hooting, and it was just so funny.
And it was we planned to try and leave early in the morning, and with a few minor ditches here and there, and then she got into the road, I think closer to 12.
I can't even remember.
And then the first part of the trip was okay.
Slow.
We were just getting used to the bus and everything, but then the bus just started getting slower and slower and slower.
And at that point, I was thinking, what the hell are we doing? Now we are going to travel with our kids in this bus and a car every single time, and I'm going to have to travel so slowly. I mean, it wasn't even 15 minutes into the drive, and the kids had asked me if we were there yet about 10 times. Aiden had eaten all these snacks.
So you can imagine how hyper they got after that.
It was so tough. But anyway, so the bus is going slower and slower.
Yeah, and eventually we had to pull off to the side. Couldn't figure out what was wrong, and we tried again and got a little bit further, and eventually we got stuck just outside of Soweto.
So it wasn't even far, because our house is in Alberton.
Well,
his parents' house also
maybe
is in
15
Alberton.
minutes drive up to
with
that
the
point.
car, of course, because with the bus by that time it was about 45 minutes already.
Oh, was it?
So the bus broke down, and then we added some more people to our little convoy. So one of my friends, and also her daughter was in my school, Eliana and Tiaila, their family stopped next to the road because they saw the bus, and they came to say hi and see the bus for the first time with the lockdown.
And we had obviously called Blake to come help us have a look what was wrong.
So Blake and Erica and everybody came back to the bus next to the road.
We landed up, while we were landing, waiting for him to come, there came a march.
Yes, a massive political...
EFF march. People with sticks.
It was, I don't know what march it was, but they had sticks and baseball bats and everything. And like, obviously, if you see something like that, you feel intimidated. I mean, they're walking around with sticks and bats. What have we done?
And the whole road covered with people.
Oh my word. So I didn't know, should we go in the bus or drive away with the car? I just didn't know. So eventually we just landed up sitting at the window waving at everyone, and it was very fun.
They were very friendly.
They were very friendly people.
And they walked.
It's just very intimidating.
They walked past the bus, and then maybe half an hour later they walked back again.
And that was it. At that time, I forgot to say, even while the bus was still going, even a donkey cart passed us.
Yeah, it managed to pass us.
It was just so slow. It was hilarious. So that was the first part of our trip, and
I was wondering, if this is going to be how the rest of our trips are going to be, where we either get stuck. It was a bit of a crazy time.
It was. So we eventually got back into the car.
Blake managed to figure out, well, he knew already that it was airlock in the pipes, and he managed to figure out a way to just bypass the piping system and just to get around that problem. And
so what happened was, the bypass was like from the engine that is in our lounge. There was a pipe in the engine, and it had to go all the way through the lounge into the bathroom, out the bathroom window into the
tank,
the
just so we could get the bus going again.
Because we couldn't sleep there. So it was just hilarious. And then we eventually carried on, and it was just such a stressful trip at that time. And yeah, so
Yeah, I'll get to more of what was the problem later, but we eventually managed to fix it in another stop. But the last part of the trip was actually pretty smooth. We were going down the road pretty good, decent speeds, 70, 80, and almost just outside of Ventersdorp, there was a bit of a little tornado. And as I was driving, because I took over from Gareth at that point, and the bus just pulled over totally to the right hand side of the road. It was a bit of a scary time for me. I didn't realize that wind could actually move the bus so fast so quickly.
At that point I also started feeling a bit more relaxed, because just seeing the farmlands and the cattle and the scenery
sheep,
change.
The sheep crossing in front of us.
No.
They crossed in front of us. And then when we got to when we got to the Club Amigos, and we came down the hill, then we actually could see the dam, and it was actually
pretty campsite. So a little bit more about the campsite. Club Amigos is in Ventersdorp. In my opinion, Ventersdorp isn't a very pretty town, but the campsite is really beautiful. It has warm water pool, which the kids loved. They had little goats. Did they have ducks? I forgot.
Yeah, they had a few ducks.
They had ducks. They had trampolines, so the twins learned how to jump trampoline.
A lot of bicycle riding.
Yeah, Katie got her first chess lesson there from her cousin Mia. And they all came to visit us. Your family came, and my family came at separate occasions. Even my friend Alisa came to visit us there. It also had a super tube. That was a lot of fun, and just being near the water, it was just so serene, and we really needed that just to decompress from everything that we had gone through for the past.
It was a bit of a traumatic year and a bit.
13 months of torture we put ourselves through. So being at a campsite, it was obviously a bit of an attraction, the bus. At that time, we were not ready to see people.
Yeah.
We needed time.
We had people in the bus, fixing the bus, working on the bus. We were in my family's...
Since lockdown lifted, we were just busy the whole time, having people around us. So we really just needed time as a family to adjust to living in a bus, and for us to realize what we've just done. We've just moved our whole little young family into a bus, and at that point already we realized we're having internet problems, so I couldn't teach online, so our income source was it's Murin. And it was so stressful. And at a campsite, obviously people want to come and see this ginormous bus that stands there, so which you understand, but we didn't want that, not then. So we actually avoided eye contact with
the covers.
We closed the curtains. We didn't want to chat with people and meet new people at that point in time, because we just needed that time to adjust. And towards the end of that trip, I think we finally relaxed enough and started enjoying showing the bus to people, and just
it was also an adjustment, because being close with the family, we used to having our family around us, so when they would come visit and then leave, it was also a very sore point. Like we felt very sad
a lot.
I didn't cry. So while we were at the campgrounds, the first 2 weeks we just rested, we just took it easy. Then I obviously needed to have a look at what was the problem that we had on the road, and I thought that I figured out that it could be that the pump wasn't pulling the diesel up to the engine, because it's quite a distance. Blake also said it could be something like that. So we bought a electrical pump, and I put that in, and with a switch and everything to pump the diesel in, and it seemed to work when we were there. So I thought that was sorted. And then I also did a little bit of work on the bus. I was trying to fix the windows, which created the driver's window actually shattered on me. We were trying to sell the trailer also at that point, and the bakkie, so that we weren't going to be able to drive everything to the next spot. So
we had the 4 weeks to get the bakkie sold.
And the trailer, we were trying to sort that out. And another point that we were trying to do is our next stop, we weren't sure we were going to be on the farm alone, so we decided that we were going to need a security gate upstairs. So we started working on a security gate, so that if we needed to, we could lock it up, which we did use. And then at that point we also said, okay, I can't just keep having Gareth come up to help me with the driving, So I needed to take
You
one for
needed
the
to get his
team.
butt into gear.
Yeah, I needed to do something that I wasn't really happy to do, and go for driving lessons with the truck and go and do my license, which I was a bit nervous about.
So we supported him. We drove all the way because we were in Ventersdorp,
Yeah,
and
and
it was in
Ventersdorp had a truck company, a company that did learner's licenses for trucks, but not the truck that I needed. I needed a code 14, and they didn't go that high.
So where did we have to go?
We had to go to Niekerk, which was an hour away.
So it was tough because we
Yeah.
drove there with all the kids, and then the
An
kids
hour
and I
there.
would sit in the car and watch Ronald do his lesson.
And I do a lesson, and we're going back,
And he
then
gets so cross with himself because he can't do the reverses properly.
because I had to have a truck that had a trailer, and obviously got to get used to reversing the trailer. I could manage, but it didn't come in between the poles every time. Knock over a few poles here and there.
So then yeah, we did that, and I think you went in. It was only one time you had to go for the lessons because Ronald had a truck license before the bus long ago. A learner's, oh sorry. And then yeah, so I think we went twice for the lessons, and then a third time for the license, which you failed.
Yeah, I had a lesson just before the. Luckily in Klerksdorp they actually were very fast. You could book with 1 day, and then 2 or 3 days later you could go for your license. So we actually ended up going very quickly. And I had a lesson that morning, and I when I went to do the license, I failed on the incline stop. I got the reverse perfectly without any problem, but then the incline I rolled slightly.
Yeah, that sucked. But then we tried again, and this time my dad had come down to come and visit us, and it was so nice to have that moral support. Also nerve-wracking because he was like checking us, and but anyway, it was nice to have him there. And then
Still trying to convince us to change the bus into a chicken coop and park it by his place. But
I love you, Dad.
Yeah, so went up the incline this time, got it all right, went onto the road, got everything right, so got the license.
Yes.
That was a big stress off our backs, and I had to come back the following week because unfortunately my fingers, I'd been working on the diesel pump, the electric pump for the diesel, and my fingers had got all dirt and all that, and I couldn't get it cleaned and all that. So when I went for the license, they were still slightly dirty, and they couldn't take my fingerprints, so I had to wait a few days for the fingerprints to clear, and they would let me know.
But at that time also my sisters came to visit us, and we all just discussed what we were going to do because I couldn't drive the car and the bakkie, and then we came to the conclusion that we would send the bakkie back with Lindy, and and they drove it back, and luckily we got someone who bought it from us, and that worked out pretty well. And then that last week,
so they were supposed to leave I think the Monday, and what happened was I went to get the license, and I was supposed to come and go collect it, and the systems were offline, and I had to go back the next day. I think it was the Tuesday, so we had to stay an extra day, and I went the next day to go and get the license, and then they couldn't find it, and then eventually they found it, and when I tried to pay, they got it all wrong, and I had to wait a few hours for them to reverse everything.
All this time I have a tummy bug, and it's the day that we've got to leave to Groot Marico.
So Sonia's backed the bus. By the time I get there, it's already 2 o'clock, and we have to go.
And we'll have to tell you all about the next trip in the next video.
Ever greener, don't let it